Hi everyone and welcome back to the Reef Life with myself, Dutch Reefer. In today's video I want to give you an update on the past 2 months that this tank has been running. So as most of you know, I've set this tank up recently and it has been going steady ever since, but of course there's always room for improvement. So today I wanted to give you an overview of the things that are going well and the things that still need some improvement. So to start off, let's take a look at the Reefscape. So this whole left side is made from Marco rock, which is a white type of rock that's been that people are getting from caves, and that can be used very well. It's very good basis for a reef tank. It is very light and open structured rock that a lot of people prefer to use for their reef tanks. And as you can see, it's not quite white anymore. So the after 2 months of being in this tank and being subjected to light and all the elements, it started coloring. I think this is the best spot to show you. Here you can see that there's still white spots, but there's also slightly greener spots. And a bit of purple spots started to appear, which is a sign of coralline algae building up. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that this rock is shaping up and coloring up and getting a part of this reef tank. On the other hand, if you look at the back of the tank, so the back wall, you can still see that there's still pretty much greenish algae left over there. So this is still something that needs to mature over time. In due time, the algae will disappear, and hopefully some nice coralline algae will appear. And of course, there are the fish, the blennies, the crabs, and other types of fish can eat that algae from the fox face from the back of the tank, and yeah, it gives them something to do during the day and to feed on. On the other hand, this side of the tank consists of some older rock that I've got before, so not a lot of things changed there. It just continued being what it is, and not much changed. So coral wise, as you can see, most of the corals are doing well. They're expanding well. They're coloring up nicely. Some of the corals that I had in my previous tank started to fade a bit, so the color started to get a little washed. And it's good to see that everything is getting back to well, relatively good health, even after such a short period. One of the examples that I think I've used before is this Christmas tree Favia that's here in the back. It has been damaged quite a bit. There's also some nuisance, well, it's a type of coral, but it's more like a nuisance type of small polyps that's attached to that. So I hope that it will disappear over time. But I think it might need some actual getting rid of. But yeah, that's something that I still need to do at a certain point. Let's see if we can zoom back to normal. Yeah, here we are. So yeah, the colors of the coral and the state of the coral is actually pretty great. This is another Ricordea that I have had for a couple of years. This orange one right here. That was shriveling away in my previous tank, that I have seen getting back to good health in this tank. So that's great to see. Also some new corals in the tank, which I'll show you in a minute. But overall, the corals are recovering well. Not all of them. Here I have an example of a Blastomusa, which is recovering remarkably well. As you can see, it's really fleshy. But then again, here's a type of chalice that was already doing very bad in my previous tank, and I'm afraid that this will be the end of it. I hope that it still might recover from this, but I'm not too hopeful. If you have any tips, by the way, on how to nurture this coral back to life, yeah, I'm open for suggestions. So yeah, please let me know if you got something, if you can think of something to get this coral back to yeah, to a normal state. So other than that, the fish, of course, a vital and a very important part of this reef tank. The clownfish, those are the ones that have been here the longest since they migrated here from my nano reef. So basically they've been in here since day one, actually, since I moved the entire nano reef into this tank on day one after setting it up. And as you can see, they are quite happy. I think they assume they're getting fed, since it's 2 hours or 1 hour before feeding time, and I'm not usually this close to the tank. So this little fella right here is like, come on, put in some food for us, which I'll do in a minute after finishing this video. So yeah, that's been in here the longest. Also this cleaner wrasse, actually, as you can see, it's a bit twitchy, and it has been doing that for the last week or two. So I'm actually considering on moving it out of this tank, since it's obviously not having a very great time with the way it's behaving. It's a bit stereotypical behavior, which is well, not something you would like to see. So I think I'll start looking for a new tank for this fish, since it's yeah, this is not very natural behavior, as you can see. On the other hand, the fox face, which you can see right here, a beautiful fish, also pretty healthy, extremely well fed, since it's eating like a pig. It's also growing pretty fast, pretty quickly. It is the biggest fish in this tank, and I think it will remain being the biggest fish in the tank, since it's yeah, it's pretty big already, and it just keeps eating away at everything you throw at it. Of course, the copper band, I almost forget that one. How can I forget this one? One of the newer fish, also a very nice colorful fish, and one that I have been looking after very meticulously. Always the first one to feed after putting a net of mysis and krill in the tank. I always like to feed this one first, since they are known to be slow eaters. I like to throw as much food at it as I possibly can before the other fish start eating it. And you quickly saw the Fridmani, which is now underneath this shelf right here, the purple fish. It's great to see it swimming around the tank for a bit. It has been doing that more in the last few weeks. Of course, that's what you like to see with such a beautiful purple fish, but it has been quite shy in the first 2 months, and it's now slowly showing itself more and more. Also probably because it thinks it's being fed, and it will be any minute now. So yeah, there's one more Salarias in the tank, but it's always very good at hiding itself, so I'm not quite sure where it is at the moment. Maybe you'll see it in the video. Well, I'm not at this moment. If I see it later, I'll quickly get back to it. And then of course there's the eel, which you can see right here. I have been covering up the entrance to the eel lair a bit with rock and a piece of old coral. Of course, it's all still very white. It still needs to blend into the environment because it really stands out at the moment. But I hope that this way the entrance is just a little less visible when you look at the tank in a general overview like this. And yeah, I think that over time it will, when it colors up, it will be no longer that noticeable that there's an entrance for the eel. Of course, it's nice to see that it's staying there and it likes to be there throughout the day actually. This entrance is already pretty much hidden right there behind the clownfish, as you can see right there underneath the favia, the green favia. And the other one is right here, which I've tried to cover up a bit with a piece of soft coral. Just glued it straight to the PVC so that it remains a bit hidden. If you look at it like this, then it's not that visible. And of course, the main view is from the front. So all in all, I think, the whole idea of getting the PVC out of the way while still being there for the eel to travel through worked out quite well. Then, since we already passed the 10-minute mark, I'm quickly going to show you a couple of my new corals that I got in the past 2 weeks. There are some SPS corals, like this Millepora right here on the left, or in the center of the screen actually. I really like that one because it's quite hairy, and the color is it's a bit strange, bluish, and I really like it. And there's another hairy Millepora right here, which is a bit more pinkish with a bit of green. And then there's this big green tree in the back, also Acropora. Not quite sure what species, but it's definitely an Acropora SP. And then there's this, which I totally forgot the name of, which is a very nice coral as well. It starts with an M. I'll get to it maybe in the next video. And it's it has very small polyps. It looks like a Stylophora, looks like Porites. It looks like a lot of things, but it's an all different coral that that I still need to read up a bit on, since it's not very common, but nevertheless very beautiful. Then the final two pieces, since you've already saw this Zoanthus island that I've built in the last two videos, I'm not going to say too much about it. If you really want to know more, watch my second to last video. There is one new piece on here, as you can see right here. It's a Montipora. It's I think it's called a beach bum Montipora. Not sure why, but I assume it has to do with the colors. It's a really beautiful green with yellow, orange, and purple polyps. Really one of the most beautiful pieces that I've seen and that I own. Then there's this this chalice. I think it's called Raja Rampage or something like that. You can see it's toxic green, really bright with yellow polyps, and I really like this one. Really stands out. As you can see, if you zoom out, it if this grows, then it will be one of the centerpieces of the tank. And then there's this green favia that you've seen earlier in this video as well. I just liked it because of the very bright green color, which really stands out as well. So it nicely blends into the entire tank with all the various shades of green, yellow, orange, bit of purple, and that's a bit of an overview of how the tank has matured in the past 2 months. Of course, this tank is still very young, so I expect it to evolve further in the next few months, in the next year actually. You can't expect everything to be perfect from day one, but all in all, I'm very satisfied and very happy with the way it turned out, the way it is today. So very grateful for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking this video and or subscribing to my channel. It helps me to build the channel. And thanks for watching again. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday if there's anything left. Otherwise, have a very nice week, and I'll see you back next week. Cheers.